Hi everyone, it's Vlad again. I'm going to give you a quick look at the toolkit package. Very quick, I'm going to try to do this in one sit. Okay, so as I mentioned in previous tutorials, first thing you should and you need to do is to start up the toolkit with the toolkit manager and pass it whatever movie clip or sprite or object it is on the screen. This is needed because the manager will give access to the stage in order to put up event listeners for the input manager and so on. Okay, so manager basically does this. We'll see what we'll do in the future, but right now we don't need anything else. The first one is input, and after you start up the toolkit, input is ready to use. So you can use input in several ways. The easiest of which is to check if a key is down. You can check if any key is down using the input manager, and you can get the key codes from this key code class that lies in the Bull Pixel Engine data package. We've got all the keys that can be used here for fast access. Okay, instead of having your table and so on, just use this key code. Okay, so if we wanted to check if numpad was down, we could do something like if this trace numpad 6 key is down. Okay, this is pretty cool. As far as I know, ActionScript 2 allowed to do something like this, but ActionScript 3 doesn't, and well, it's useful to say the least. Okay, the second way to use the input is to add a function to any key. Again, we can use the key code to get the enter key, and then we would run some function, run enter key. Okay, naturally this had to be a public function in order to do something. Okay, so every time the enter key was pressed, this function would run. Okay, if you use the add function to check something inside a loop when you don't need it anymore, you should remove the function. Why? Well, if you are using this inside, let's say, your game loop to check a movement of some token, the moment your game loop disappears, this method will no longer exist because the object will not exist. Okay, so if you press the enter key, you'll get errors and so on. Not only that, but if you start your game loop again, you will try to register the enter key, and it will not register because it's already registered to something, which means that each key can only have one function. So every time you add a function to do something, you should remove the function when you don't need it. Okay, this is just a cleanup, and you should use it. Okay. Next, we are going to take a look. We are not going to take a look at local data. Rasmus did a nice tutorial. You can check the link in our blog about the local data. Local data is just a shared object manager. Okay, it's pretty easy to use, and hopefully you'll have a way of managing your shared objects in a much simpler way. Okay, loop is our next function. Loop is exactly that. I call it loop because that's what I use to manage the game loops. The only thing you need to do with loop is to add a function. Okay, for instance, we could add an update function, and the update function would, for instance, run all the game loops. So it would update movement, check collisions, and so on. Okay. Like with input, and this is pretty much true for everything where you add a function inside Bolt Pixel Engine, you should and must remove the function when you don't need it, okay? Or you will start seeing errors in it, right? If you are doing a game, if your code updates stuff time-based, you can get the delta time from the loop. For instance, you can have a variable delta time, which is a int, and you can go for a loop and ask for the delta time. If you need to check the frame rate, it will also let you know what the frame rate is, because it has a frames per second profiler inside its code. Okay, but if you only need delta time, for instance, to check movement, you can use it just with this. Okay. Moving on forward and quickly, you can use the music and the sound effects like the Blit engine. You can have uints. So for instance, we can have a music variable. It's a uint, okay, and you can just say that my music equals some music I create, okay, and I'm going to create a music. What this needs is a library music, meaning a library sound that is exported with some class name. Okay, let's imagine there is no my music class there, but let's say that there was a my music class. Okay, the good thing about this is that you don't have to manage which music you have anywhere. So if I had in this class my music and I created using this class, if I use the same class to create another music index, it would not create a second one. It would use, and I can show you that, it will check if the music exists inside the music manager. Okay, so it will never duplicate anything. The problem is it will also not remove whatever is in there. Okay, so it will take some of your memory, but at least all the music and all the sounds. The same applies for sounds and for textures in the in the Blit engine. Sorry, will do the same thing. So you can do this pretty much anywhere. This way you don't have to have a central point to manage your music, your sound, your textures, and so on, because this is being taken care inside the music manager or the sound manager or the texture manager of Blit engine. So you could just say music play my music, okay, and it would loop the music and so on. If you say you wanted to use another music, it would simply stop this one and start the other one. Bolt Pixel Engine later versions will have nice things like music transitions, but right now this is what we use. Naturally, with music, you can stop and toggle the mute flag. Okay. The same applies for the sound. The sound is pretty much like this. The difference with sound, it will not loop anything. It will just play once. Okay. So I'll just open this. Not much time to do this, but I'll try inside a 10 minutes frame that YouTube allows. The screws and nuts have these things. These things are just utilities, okay? So these are the screws and nuts inside the toolkit, not the tools. The tools are the others. So you can get your domain, you can close an array, and so on with this. Just give it a try. Our time is ending. Thank you for watching. Hope you have fun with Bolt Pixel Engine, and bye-bye.